Hello everybody, welcome to OCHD and welcome to another Jumputi Heroes video. Probably the last video before the 4.5 anniversary, which is happening in a couple of days. We have the live stream coming up on the 27th at 9 PM JST. I'm very much looking forward to that because they have somehow successfully not leaked anything. Nothing has leaked from Weekly Shonen Jump, nothing has leaked from data download, nothing has been accidentally posted anywhere, like on a website or in game or anything. We're good. I think this is the first time they've ever successfully done that. Like fully, nothing leaked, nothing teased, nothing. So nobody knows what to expect going into this live stream, which is a little bit exciting, but also, I mean, they have a bit of a history of fucking these things up at some point, so won't get my hopes up too high. But today we're going to be discussing some of the potential things that could be added to the game into the future. Some of these things are lending from stuff I've seen in other games. Some of these things are improving and honing in on specific elements of the game that have maybe been neglected. And some of these things are just obvious omissions from the game that I think should be added. Not all of these things should be added, but like little bits here and there, pick them out and maybe implement them. I think that the game has a lot of potential, and we've gone through a bit of a rough patch here and there over the years, and particularly this year there's been some issues that a lot of fans have spoken about. One of the big ones is the fact that we've changed from 1 limited per event to 2 limiteds per event as a standard. That's become really tough for some players. And yeah, today I just want to discuss some of the things that maybe we could see in the future, maybe not. And let me know your thoughts in the comments, if there's anything I've missed, or if any of the ideas I said here are good or bad or whatever. So hope you guys enjoy, and let's crack on. Okay, first up I want to talk about the possibility of them adding a new rarity into the game. Now, we don't really have much in the way of indicators that this might actually happen, but there are some little bits. For starters, we've had a lot more limiteds recently, like a lot more. The standard used to be every feature festival would get 1, and then if you had a special event, maybe it gets 2. Now, feature festival, you get 2. A special event, maybe you get 3. Plus, we've had multiple Muso this year already. We've already had 2 this year. It's supposed to be 2 every year at the anniversary and half anniversary, but we've already had 2. We haven't even reached a half anniversary yet. So that's shifted as well. And the standard for what is considered limited worthy has dropped somewhat. Characters being promoted from standard gacha or from event units into limited is probably the reason for that, but that has led to us getting a lot of characters that maybe before wouldn't have been considered limited worthy and now are. And moving forward, more characters of that sort of level of prestige may be considered for future limiteds. So there is potential there is potential that could be an indicator. Another one is, of course, the button that appeared on the Taiwan version, and the fact that both the Taiwan version and the Japan version had the rarity filter changed, so there was extra padding for space for more buttons. And, you know, the question arises, is that a mistake? Which it could be, but it's very unlikely that it's happened on both versions in different manners. But is that a mistake, or is that because they are working on something that is going to be added in a new something? Now, how this might work, either this could be something in between Muso and Limited, or it could be similar to Pokemon, where you have mythical and legendary, which are sort of the same status, but they are treated differently. They are distinctly different. And I would say the devs probably might lean towards that one, because that way they can charge 24,000 rubies for whatever this is. And You know, if you made something that was sort of in between Limited and Muso, it's not going to make as much money. So it's maybe a little bit up for debate whether it be like just Muso but different, or whether it be its own little thing, its own little section. Bear in mind, the button that appeared on the Taiwan version appeared after Muso, so it should be equivalent or above Muso. However, that could just be an error. I mean, any of this could just be an error, but that specifically could just be like the default position for the button. So I think for this new rarity, which I have arbitrarily chosen a name for, don't read too much into it, I just had to pick something. It would mostly focus on main characters, not necessarily just the singular protagonist of the story, but the group of main characters. You know, characters like Sasuke Uchiha would still fall under this category were he to get one. And it would be for like landmark or final power-ups. Now I know from Naruto we've sort of already had Sage of the Sixth Pass Naruto, but maybe at some point we could get Sasuke and Naruto dual unit version 2, and it could be Sage of the Sixth Pass Naruto and whatever it was called, Sasuke with the I can't remember what it's called, Amaterasu and all that stuff. So Musos, for me, for the most part at least, are sort of like signposts of history. Stuff typically, other than one I would say, is something that the main characters look back at, something from history that's ridiculously strong or ridiculously important to the story. That applies to all of them except for Gio. He is the only one that's happening in the current space. But you could definitely make an argument that maybe they made Vegito before they sort of made the decision on how they were going to approach that. I mean, you know, definitely in terms of Giotto, that is like a character from way back. Hashirama Senju is a character from way back. Goldie Roger is from way back. And these are all sort of not necessarily goals, but it's sort of the direction the protagonist is going in. So some of them are goals, to be fair, but for example, Luffy wants to be the Pirate King. Roger is the Pirate King. Then you have Hashirama Senju, who was the first Hokage, and Naruto wants to become the Hokage. And you also have, in the instance of Suna and Giotto, Suna doesn't want to become the boss of the mafia, the boss of the Von Gola family, but that is sort of the direction he's going in, and obviously Giotto is the first head of the Von Gola family. So it's sort of, I think, potentially, this new rarity could be the point at which the character comes closest to embodying their Muso counterpart, or what would be a Muso counterpart. Obviously, there are some characters this doesn't really apply to. Like, for example, I've got Ichigo here, or Giorno doesn't necessarily really apply. But you get what I mean. It's like the moment when Naruto came closest to being as dope as Hashirama Senju. The moment when Luffy came as close to being as dope as Goldie Roger. You get what I'm saying. So potentially, I would prefer this to be something in between Limited and Muso, but I think the devs like money, so they might not go with that. Next up, I'd like to talk about Souvenirs. Now, Souvenirs are sort of my approach to the idea of something like equip items, relics, something along those lines. The reason I've chosen the name Souvenirs is because Jumputi is sort of themed around you going from island to island on your boat. They've recently had the My Ship update to sort of emphasize that feeling of you are going from place to place on your boat. And every so often we do come back to Jumputi Island, but we go to other places and we experience the stories in other places. So if, for example, you go to an island that's having a Bleach event on and you experience the Bleach event, well, why not give a souvenir that you can take home? And in this case, it could be the substitute Shinigami badge, for example, which I've got on the screen there. Obviously, it's already been used in the game in another context. It was used as a summonable item, but they've reused stuff before. They've reused the Osore from it was added for Hagoromo Gitsune in one of the events ages ago, and then they rebranded it into an emblem. So if any of these items needed to be rebranded into souvenirs, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But obviously add some new ones as well. And I think the way I would implement this, a little bit different than maybe some other games, is I would have two things, two abilities. The first would just be a buff you get for obtaining the item. It's applied globally the second you obtain the item, and it is in your account. So the same as like friendship combos, when you complete a friendship combo and you get +5, I don't know, HP for tank units or whatever. And that's just applied to all units. You've completed that quest, that goal, that friendship combo, whatever. So now that buff belongs to your account. So this would be the same sort of thing. You've obtained this item, so that buff belongs to you now. However, these items could also have a secondary ability. So the characters could each have their own equip slot. Not specifically the characters, I should point out. The team slots on your team screen, you can have a slot for each team slot. That's a what? An equip slot, a souvenir slot for each team slot. And the idea being, I don't want it to be the kind of thing like, say, for example, Bleach Brave Souls, where you equip it to the specific character, and that becomes managing items very difficult later on, and you'll want duplicate items because some of the characters would work well with this particular kind of item, but you have another character that needs it as well, and it becomes tricky to mix and manage. So rather than having something like that, there'll only be one of each souvenir, and once you get it, you've got it, and that's it. You can level it up. It'll have levels, maybe 1 to 10, similar to a legend summon, but when you equip it to the equip slot in your team slots. So it's not locked in any way, shape or form. It's the same as if you had a team with Rengoku and you made another team with Rengoku. It doesn't stop you from doing that. So similar sort of thing. And then I think when you have it equipped to your team, there could be a second ability. The first global buff is obviously, that's added to your account. That's done now. You've got it. But the second ability could be something like either a passive ability like +5% to red units or whatever, +5% attack, and that's passively active just by having this equipped in the team slot, in the equip slot, or it could be an ability like just, well, basically any support ability like convert bubbles or heal or whatever, and maybe you can only use it once per battle, or maybe you can use it on a cooldown or whatever. It could depend on the souvenir, but the idea is it's essentially a support only ability or a passive only ability that you put in an equip slot. Potentially makes some stages a lot easier, but obviously to account for this you'll add more content later that is more difficult and will require you to factor in the use of souvenirs. And yeah, set bonuses would be cool as well. In the same way we've got friendship combos, like if you could have set bonuses for all the souvenirs, that would be really nice. And yeah, I want it to be based on items from the actual series. I really like the example of the substitute Shinigami badge, but there's obviously so many examples you can think of. Different weapons, different important items from the story, different, you know, iconic things that a character uses in the story. Like, yeah, the possibilities are endless. Now, I also have another similar sort of thing. I wouldn't necessarily implement both at the same time. Maybe one or the other, or one and then the other. But it's a similar sort of idea. And that similar idea is companions. Now, a lot of these characters you see at the side actually have appeared in the game in some context. Sadaharu didn't appear as a dog, but did appear as a horse. Kon and Tinkampi has appeared in the background of the tower, I believe. Oh no, Tinkampi didn't. He appeared in Alan's special ability, Alan Walker. And then Poir appeared with Yamcha, obviously. Liba appeared with Asta, obviously. But similar to Souvenirs, I think these would be characters that appear in a story, sort of support type characters, buddy type characters, mascot characters definitely, but characters that sort of don't necessarily the description of a character that you make playable in the game. Now, we've had characters like this that have been made playable, like for example Meso from Sexy Commando Gaiden. Not necessarily a character that would be considered to be playable nowadays, but at the start of the game was added as a playable character. You could definitely do a version 2 Meso as a companion type character. But there's so many characters that fit this description. I mean, just some examples at the side here. And I think this should actually be quite good because, yes, it would require more work than my example of Souvenirs, but it would require a lot less work than actual playable characters. And they're sort of like support-only characters. I don't think they should necessarily be taking up a support slot as a support-only character, but similar role as Legend Summon, but with an actual character rather than just a, you know, pop-up a pop-up little coma from the from the manga. And I think maybe, I don't know if you'd have 4 per team or maybe just 1 per team, but I think it'd be cool to give your character like a little buddy, a little companion. And yeah, similarly to the Souvenirs, as I mentioned, it'd be something that you level up based on special items you would earn during special events. And it's just a way to give these characters a little bit of spotlight, because some of them do actually have like a role to play in the manga, but effort is being put into to make, say for example with Kon, if they do a Bleach feature festival, they're not adding Kon probably. It's very unlikely they would add Kon. If they did, it would probably be the version of him, like he'll transform into Ichigo for a special ability or whatever, use his body. So it's not really fitting, I wouldn't say, to have him as a playable character. You could do it with any of these, but I think it would be cool just to have them as just like a little companion, little buddy, little guy, and they've got a little ability that you can use every once in a while. Doesn't have to be anything strong, and these don't have to be outstandingly drawn or outstandingly animated, and they don't have to have special abilities. That's the key thing. I think the special abilities probably take a long time to animate. You wouldn't have to give them any. So that does cut down on the work, and it would just be another thing that you could be working towards. This is my issue with events recently. It feels like, say for example, this sports event that's on right now, we're reaching the back end of the event. The only thing I have left to do is farm points to get hero jewels. That's it. There's nothing else going on. I beat Aomine, and yeah, I can go and try and beat the Super Genkai battles, but that's not really part of this event. That's a reprint. There's nothing new for me to be farming other than the hero jewels. That's the issue. And having, say for example, Souvenirs or companions, having another thing to be working towards in addition to maybe legend summons, in addition to characters and the event stores, it just gives you something to do. And with the introduction of the logbook, if anything is like, you know, oh, it was too much and I couldn't farm all of it, you can just open the event back up and go back and finish it at any point. So it's fine. So just a possibility. I don't necessarily think you would add both, but I think it would be cool if they added both. And yeah, lots of characters with potential to be a companion. And next I want to talk about the potential for the return of costumes. Now, for some people you might be thinking, did they go somewhere? But, you know, back in the day, we used to get special costumes every once in a while. Now, that Pearl Shop section is the only real special costumes we get. And, yeah, we get the Aura costumes every once in a while, but those are largely being replaced by emblems, which kind of sucks. Now, my idea for how you would sort of fix that and try and move costumes into a place where it might actually be profitable for the devs, but it's still not like a price gougey type thing. It's an optional aesthetic that people can work towards and go for, or they can just not, and they can not interact with it. Take the pearls that we currently have and make it so that, yes, you can use them in the exchange store for the old costumes, but you could also use them in a new Pearl Gacha. Put premium costumes in the Pearl Gacha, and then if you pull any dupes from the Pearl Gacha, because you can only have one of every costume, you will get some special rainbow pearls as compensation, depending on the rarity of the costume. Let's say if it's a silver costume, you get like 1. And if it's a gold one, maybe you get 3. And if it's a rainbow one or a 5-star one or whatever, you get maybe 5. And this is a key difference between the current way things are done and the way I would do things. They made it so that, say, for example, Kagura, there's one right there, Kagura's swimsuit. That's a gold rarity costume, not because it's supposed to be any less rare than the other costumes, but because it is on a gold character, a 4-star character. Now, I would change it so that costumes can be 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star rarity, regardless of what rarity character they are being applied to. And that way, the system for summoning on the Pearl Gacha works better, because you could have like a silver costume for a 5-star character. And if you get a duplicate, you only get 1 rainbow pearl. And then that small amount of rainbow pearls, once you collect enough, let's say 100, probably would need to be more than that for some costumes, I don't know. Maybe 100 for the normal costume, the 3-star costume, and then 300 for the 4-star. Well, that'd probably be too much. But you get the idea. As you collect more of the rainbow pearls, you can trade it in for the higher rarity costumes. And you would just add pearls the same way you add other luxury rewards into events. So give it away sparingly, the same way you would give away rubies. But then you would have special packs and special passes that you purchase them, and over time you will accumulate more pearls. And this would be an opportunity to add costumes for characters that are, say, for example, limited. Limited characters don't really get costumes, except very, very rarely. Maybe if the limited is given away for free. I'd like to point out there are other games, like for example Cookie Run Kingdom, where you can get costumes for characters that you don't have, and it's not considered any sort of violation of the rules. That the character is unobtainable, but the costumes, you've got the costume, so now what? Like there's characters I have in that game where I've got a costume for them and I don't have the character. And I think that was the concern, maybe, with costumes at the start, because there was a whole thing of you not being able to purchase certain costumes unless you had the character. So I don't know if they would do this, but I personally think it's a good idea. Now, whether they've come around on the idea since back in the day, because you've got to remember they've changed. The game has changed quite a lot. The producers have changed. The people working on the game has changed. Recently, Wonder Planet had like a whole restructuring of the company. They're completely approaching how they're developing their games in a different way. They're making more games than they were before. So a lot has changed since back then, and I think it would be okay to release costumes that you get from a costume gacha using the pearls, and there is the possibility you get a costume for a character you do not have, and you'll just have to work towards getting that character. That's just the way it is. Now, similarly to costumes, I think this is an idea we've talked about a lot in the past, that it doesn't seem like the devs were on the same page as the fans. They promised us a long time ago sprite revamps for certain series, and while certain series have received updated sprites, those have been on new characters, not on the old ones. And so, say for example, Shiroyashi Gintaki, we have an updated sprite of him being used in the dual unit with Takasugi, but the old one still has the old sprite, and it looks really dated. Now, whether or not they are at some point going to go back and change them all, I don't know. That might take a very long time. It might not be worth it. I mean, is it financially a good idea for them? Have they sort of abandoned that idea? I mean, that was a promise made by the old producer. He's gone now, so do we even need to live up to that promise? I don't know. But maybe, if you did want to, you could do it this way. For Awakening, making characters not only more visually appealing, but also stronger. Now, I've used Zoro as an example here just because we happen to have an updated Zoro sprite on the Taiwan version. That's not in the JP version. But I would argue that they would probably focus this more on limiteds than on standard gacha. Even though the standard gacha units probably need it the most, they would probably focus more on limiteds. For example, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. We've got the old one and we've got the new one. You could update the sprite of the old one to make it look good like the new one, and you could improve their abilities using difficult stages where you obtain key items. They've done this on Dokkan. They have done this on Dokkan. You beat certain stages, you get certain medals, and you make those older characters not only stronger, but they have a new artwork and they have new abilities, and it makes them more powerful and actually more useful. Now, yes, there is sort of the key point that a lot of players already have these characters, and if you already have the character, then yes, you'd be very happy that you could just take the character you have and power it up. But how are the devs profiting off of this? Yes, I think you could say they'll reprint the gacha, and then anyone who doesn't have those units, it's an opportunity to get them, and they're going to be a lot stronger than they were before. But I think also you have to remember that you're constantly working towards your future profits. Yes, you have existing whales who are profiting, that helping towards your profit of the game, and they're contributing towards your funds, but you have to be looking for more whales in the future. At the moment, a lot of these old limiteds provide nothing for new players. You might summon for, say, for example, anyone who got Shirayasha Gintoki from the current event. It was given away for free. He's not very good. He's not very strong. His abilities need updating. And yeah, they get buffs every now and again, but it's not enough to actually make them amazing. It makes them stronger. It makes them like more useful, but quite a lot of the old limiteds are completely outclassed by standard gacha units from this year. So why would I go 9 multis for them? I just wouldn't. And they don't even reprint a lot of their banners anymore, because what's the point? You'd reprint it, no one would summon on it. So I think it would make sense to just try this out. You don't have to do it with loads of different characters. Try it with, like, I don't know, 4 characters. 4 characters. A red, a green, a yellow, a blue. And maybe even do it with, like, some of the classic limiteds or whatever. And then just give us a way to improve their abilities, to farm something and improve their abilities, and offer these characters in a gacha. And then people might well summon for it. Heck, if you're worried that the one singular character is not enough, because a lot of people might already have the characters, take 4 of them, stick them together, call it a batch, put them on one banner, and then put a choice ticket at the end. You can choose which one you want. That, to me, makes a lot of sense. Maybe make it one of those 15 multi things where it's like, I think 9th multi, you get guaranteed limited one of the 4, but then on the 15th multi, you get to choose. I know a lot of people don't like those gacha, but we're talking about profit here. We're talking about from the side of profit. So, for example, if they put Gear 4 Luffy and Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Sage Mode Naruto and Shirayasha Gintoki as the 4, and they all got an upgrade. They all got new sprites and they all got new abilities, but only if you clear this super difficult content. And you farm, not necessarily farm, but you beat the stages and you get these items and you level them up, you awaken them, and then they become super strong and super powerful. They have the new sprites, the new animations, and they look awesome. And there's 4 of them on the banner. And then on the 9th multi, you get 1 of them, and on the 15th, you can choose one. I think that is potentially very, very good. And I think if you were going to do it for anything less than limited, you've got to make it a long grind. You've got to make it like a nightmare grind. And also potentially increase their max skill cap so that I would want dupes of them as well. So like instead of just stopping them at level 12, stop them at like level 24. So I want more dupes of them. And then it's like something you will constantly be working towards. I think that is potentially a lovely little whale trap. Make loads of money off of that. And I think it'd be good for the game. Constantly something to be working towards. And next I want to talk about the possibility of a season pass. I kind of got this idea from Cookie Run Kingdom, but there are lots of other games that do this. Just a pass that I think it costs $4.99 That's pounds. I don't know how much it costs in yen or how much it costs in dollars, but you pay that price once a month, and they give you, you'll get like a special item straight away. So in this case, it's like the ship and the bottle. And in the case of this season pass, it could be a special souvenir. It could be a special companion character. It could be some sort of special upgrade for your ship or something along those lines, given straight away. Then, as you level up, you will get other rewards. Now, there is a free version of this pass where you won't get this special item straight away, and you will get lesser rewards, but everybody gets that because it's free. And then if you buy the premium version of the pass, you get better rewards. You get, well, in this case, it's all Cookie Run Kingdom related stuff, but you would get rubies, you would get limit break doors, you would get all the items you need to help level up your characters, but, you know, not too often because most people have way too many books and evolvers and stuff. You'd get loads of coins. You just get everything you need, everything you're always low on. You'd get some free summons in there as well, some special tickets, and you would be getting some shards for some characters, but not event characters. You'd be getting shards for either a gacha or limited character, I think. Possibly a chance to reintroduce some old limiteds. Like I mentioned before, the awakening mechanic, maybe this would be an opportunity to get one of those characters that awakens for free. Maybe they have those 4 that come back on the gacha and 1 comes back for free. And you can get them for free from this. And in terms of other benefits, maybe you get boosted rank EXP and stuff like that. I mean, you can see what I've written on the side, you know. And another one is pearls. Like I said, if costumes are going to make a comeback and you're going to have the costume gacha, put pearls in there. Scrolls would actually be very nice. Scrolls would be very nice. And they've mentioned that they're going to add the profile update at some point. And I honestly, so far, my ship and profile does nothing for me as a player in the game other than the rewards we get from my ship. So if you want to add some additional profile cosmetics and whatever, then this would be a good opportunity to do that. And additional stuff for my ship as well. You know, the customizability of my ship is quite limited at the moment, so allowing me to customize it just a bit would be pretty cool. And this is another thing I've put down that I'm not too sure about, but extra daily tower challenges and extra super dimensional battle challenges. A lot of people would absolutely despise this. Some people are listening to me say this right now, and they're like, what the fuck? You want to get people to pay to play extra tower challenges every day, and they are literally paying to have an advantage over you in the rankings. And I agree, that's probably a bit over the top, but this was just a possibility of one of the many things they could add, because that is something they've added in Cookie Run Kingdom. You do get additional tries at the bounty mode and a few other things, just given by buying this pass. So I'm not necessarily suggesting the tower side of things, because I think that does mess up the rankings a little bit, but super dimensional battle, certainly they could give you more challenges, because it is, at the end of the day, just more rewards for you. That's all it is, really. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, possibly some limited character fragments, and you can get a limited character for free from this. I think it's pretty cool. It'd be like a cheap pack, like I said, $5.99, maybe like $6 or $7, maybe like I don't know how many yen, like maybe like 700, 800 yen, something like that. And then you'd get all these bonuses for it that normally, if you were buying packs with these bonuses in, it would cost you a lot more. But this is something that you have to work towards over the course of a month. I think that would be pretty damn cool if executed well. Don't add all of this stuff, just pick and choose the good stuff. And I briefly mentioned my ship. I think my ship needs another update. I know they said they were working on it and it wasn't good enough and they delayed it, and now they're ready for it and it's ready to come out, and it is fucking pointless. There is nothing to it. It is just a boat floating in the water. Yes, you get the rewards, which are nice, but they could have added those in any other context. Beyond that, it's nothing. It's not even actually customizable. You just level it up as you go along. That's it. So, yes, they are adding a new one, by the way. In the update for the anniversary, we're going to get up to level 60 on my ship. and you're going to be able to level up the ship again, potentially to this gold ship here. Very cool, very nice, but ultimately fucking pointless. It's not like there's no individuality other than the characters that you choose to put on the boat and the name of the boat. There's no individuality to this. So what is the point? I can't show it off. If I get to level 60, I'm like, look at my boat, and then I look at all the other people at level 60 with the same boat. What is the point? So I think there should be maybe at level 100 when we eventually get there, or maybe, you know, at a certain point now just scrap the old My Ship and add a My Ship 2.0. And I think you should be able to choose the base for your ship and just completely customize it, like everything, and make it much bigger. Something that you can go inside the ship. There's multiple floors to the ship. There's separate rooms in the ship. And when you start, maybe you don't have a lot to work with. If you're like level 10, level 20, maybe you've only got like 1 or 2 rooms, a little cabin inside the ship, and that's about it. And then on the outside, it's not that big either. You can't put that many characters in there. You can't customize it that much. But as you go on, you unlock more customizable features. You unlock more rooms. You get a bigger ship. You can put more characters in there. The custom music thing I think would be very cool. And when I say custom music, I don't mean you can just choose an MP3 off your phone. You can't just start playing Soldier Boy while you're sitting on your ship. Not like that. I mean, choose from the tracks that are in the game already. Maybe there's a favourite track you like. Maybe the Halloween one's nice and spooky. Maybe you choose that one, and that plays while you're on the My Ship screen. So when people come to visit your one, it will actually be individual. There will actually be a reason for it. Now, personally for me, I don't really care about this factor that much. Like the whole idea of, oh, someone will see my profile on the game and I'll see my ship and it's my customizable thing. I don't really care about it that much, but they have dedicated a lot of time and effort to this update already. If they're going to stick to it, it's got to do something. And at the moment, it doesn't do anything. You level it up, you get rewards. It's like any other feature of the game. Why it took them that long, I have absolutely no idea. But now that we're here, now that the ship is floating in the water, they need to try and revitalize this update. I know that's sad to say because it's only just come out, but imagine like the bay around where the ship is. Maybe it could be like Bleach Brave Souls, where when there's a special event, you get a special background, you get special music, and if you took part in that event, you've unlocked that. So when you go to My Ship, you have the opportunity to choose custom, and you can use whichever backgrounds and whichever music you've unlocked from playing the game in the past. And then, yeah, custom Jolly Roger, sails, anything you can think of that a boat would have, custom versions of it. And have your characters walking around on it. And it's like actually worth having in the game. This might seem a bit harsh, but truth be told, they did invest a lot of time in it. And the fact that they said to our faces, yeah, we didn't think it was good enough, so we went back and tried again, and this is what they came up with. What the hell did it look like before? It serves no purpose. It does nothing. You just get rewards. So if you want me to feel something for this game mode, if you want me to get stuck in, get involved, these are the kind of things you need to add. I don't know what the plan was and what the intended purpose of this mode was, but taking it from where it is now and making My Ship 2.0 and making it a proper thing, I would say at least gives me some reason to care about it. Other than, oh look, there's an exclamation mark, I click it. Oh, I got 5 million coins because I just leveled up. That's cool. Close. And then that's it. Because you don't even get the EXP from interacting with the ship. You get it from playing anything else. So it's actually telling you, here's all these rewards. Go do anything else than interact with this page. Literally anything else in the game rather than be here. And then come back here to get your reward. And then leave again and carry on playing. Like, what's going on? What's going on? I know a lot of these features I've mentioned would probably take a considerable amount of time to implement, but my hope is that when they said, oh yeah, the My Ship update, we made it, but it was shit. and we're gonna make it. We said we had to work on it harder and make it even better. My hope is that the version we have now is the shit version, and they have been working in the background for 2.0, and they're gonna release that later. Whether that's the case or not, that remains to be seen. Okay, next I kind of want to talk about the devs maybe pushing the boat out a little bit in terms of the kind of series that are being used in the game and the kind of content we're getting. Because, yeah, occasionally we do get a rogue pick, like Hades Sensei from Hokenshitsu no Shinigami. That was sort of out of nowhere. And we have been moving slowly but surely into the realm of potentially seeing stuff outside of the Weekly Shonen Jump standard selection. You know, stuff like the Nisekoi spin-off that's supposed to be added. That's not even from Shonen Jump. It's not even it's barely even related to Shonen Jump at all. It is just a Shueisha property. So that being added potentially could spark other stuff being added. Now, there are a lot of Weekly Shonen Jump series that we haven't got anything for. Obviously, Slam Dunk and Shaman King are kind of standout ones here. But these ones, there's an issue with them. I don't know what Slam Dunk's issue is. I don't know if I'll ever know what Slam Dunk's issue is, but we know what Shaman King's issue is. There is a definite rights issue there that probably is not surpassable. There's a lot of other series here I've mentioned that are very popular series from over the years of Weekly Shonen Jump that have not featured in the game, and it would be great to see them, especially anything that appeared in the Ori collection that hasn't made its way over to Jumputi Heroes. It would be nice to see them added. I'm not asking for feature festivals here, guys. One unit would be fine. Just anything. Just anything. Just so we can have a bit of variety, a bit of spice. And then once you add the series, you'll have a better idea of how popular it maybe is, and maybe add 1 or 2 more units later if people seem to be reacting positively to its inclusion. But I definitely like the variety aspect. And look, okay, I know the popular series are always going to reign supreme and they're always going to get loads and loads of content, but maybe we could take a break and not get another Luffy and not get another Asta and not get another Suna, and we could get one of the characters from these series. I'm not asking too much here, I don't think, that we could have just a handful more new series every year, just to fill in the gaps, just to be added to the ensemble events that were already planned. I think that would be fun. There's loads of cool series in here, and you might notice there's some big names missing here, but I'm speaking specifically about series pre the release of Jumputi Heroes, pre 2018. In terms of series after that, there are quite a few. Very, very popular ones, might I add. Some of these have done absolutely mad numbers already. They're already some of the most popular stuff Jump has in its roster. In not just currently running, just in totality. Some of the most popular stuff. Definitely some of the most popular in terms of recency bias. But yeah, loads of these series getting anime now. Loads of these series got content going on. They're just not getting added. Now, I am hoping that with the approaching 55th anniversary of Jump and the 5th anniversary of Jumputi Heroes, we're going to see a change. Whether that change will be them including things that have released between the 50th and the 55th anniversary, or whether there's more to it than that, and it's more just a case of, okay, we had the right setup like this before, and this is how it's going to be set up now. Like, I don't know how their negotiations work. All I know is you click like the copyright button in the settings, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. There are so many names on there. And look, obviously there is some sort of problem. There is some sort of reason why these series have not been added. I guess the working assumption is because this game was celebrating the 50th anniversary of Jump, these series were not part of that celebration because they were not out yet. So this game is not celebrating them. But there's no reason why we can't just change it to the 55th anniversary. There's no reason why they can't organize some sort of deal. I mean, they're in direct communication with the Weekly Shonen Jump team, with the Shueisha team. They have stated as such in the past. They've even had some of them in for like interviews and stuff. So there's no reason why we can't expand our roster to include these series. And while we're at it, why not series like this? Because, to be honest, that Nisekoi spin-off really does open the door. I don't really see why any of these series would not be eligible. And there's loads more. Like, in terms of these 3 lists I've had here, there's loads more. But I mean, I've just picked out some of the key titles, you know, and it does sort of raise some questions. I don't know. If you're reading Weekly Shonen Jump and you see that there's an advert for Jumputi Heroes and it's got like loads of new series, spin-off series, sequel series, that's surely more exciting than the same sort of adverts. They did 2 adverts for that fucking Gintama event. 2 adverts, and they ended up having 2 limiteds for that event, by the way. And Gintama's not even running in the magazine anymore. It's from an arc that was spanned like 5 chapters of the entire manga. Like, don't get me wrong, if you enjoyed that event, fair enough, but that can't be one of Jumputi's big sellers. Not as much as stuff that's actually still going on, and and stuff that's like super duper popular. I don't have any issue with focusing on stuff that's maybe less popular from smaller parts, but they do it with some bias. You know, they would with Gintama, they'd consider doing something like that. It's only a 5-chapter arc, and they do that. But there's loads of series where it's like, oh well, we're not focusing on classic Dragon Ball because screw you. we're past that. We're past that point. And there's loads of series where it's just like, we're not even focusing on the series at all. So they've got their biases and they've got their popular things that they need to focus on. But if there are some series that you have just decided we're not doing it, okay, replace that with something else. Because at the start of the game, there was such a huge influx of new series every week. Every week you'd get a new series. Or at least every couple of weeks. And then by the end of the first year, okay, that went down and down and down. But now it's getting to the point where we're getting like maybe 2 new series a year. There is so much Jump stuff out there. And yeah, okay, not all of it's Weekly Shonen Jump, but Shueisha has the rights. Shueisha has the ability to get at the very least, get the Jumputi devs in contact with the people who have the rights for these series and potentially get them in the game. And it's still a celebration of Jump, so I think it's fine. And while we're at it, why not have collaboration projects? Especially for Jump Plus stuff. Admittedly, some of the stuff in like Jump Square, in like Young Jump, in all those publications, maybe you'd make an argument that it doesn't really work or whatever, but for Jump Plus stuff, like, you are actively publishing this stuff every week on the Weekly Shonen Jump website alongside Weekly Shonen Jump properties. Globally speaking, yes, we probably perceive all these things as sort of the same thing because they're all in the same, if you open the Shonen Jump app, they're all there. But in terms of the Weekly Shonen Jump series and the Shonen Jump Plus series, they have been blurring the line between those in Japan as well. And obviously Japan is the key focal point for Jumputi. You know, they're not trying to sell to Americans or the UK or whatever. But, like, say, for example, Spy Family. You will see Spy Family adverts appear every so often in other Jump publications because they want to push you towards the Shonen Jump Plus service. They want you to go on the website and read it because that way, when it gets popular, they can make an anime out of it, and you'll go watch that, and they'll make loads of money. So why wouldn't you use Jumputi to do the exact same thing? It doesn't make any sense. And plus, a lot of these series don't really have games. They're like Shonen Jump Plus, like Spy X Family and Hell's Paradise and stuff like that. They do appear in that Shonen Jump Plus game, but guess what? It fucking sucks. It sucks, bro. It's like there's like nothing to it, and all the sprites are just little pixels. And imagine Jumputi style, you had like Anya and Yor and Lloyd from Spy Family, people will go crazy. People will go crazy for that. And you could put that advert in Weekly Shonen Jump and people would be like, oh damn, and they would come and play. Why wouldn't you do stuff like that? Admittedly, maybe I'm pushing a boat out a bit with stuff like Blue Exorcist or something in Jump Square. Maybe that's a little bit too much. But bear in mind, they advertise their other publications in Weekly Shonen Jump. They mention Jump Giga. They mention, Jump Square and stuff like that. They want you to consume all their content, because if you consume it, you're more likely to buy stuff off of them. So I don't get it. I don't get why they're not using their properties in a way that they could be generating a hell of a lot more money, and they could, the more popular Jumputi gets, the more people it is sending straight back to these other series. Loads of people discover series from Jumputi. You'd be like, I don't really know this series, but you might play the feature fest and be like, you know what, this is actually pretty cool, and then you maybe you go read the series. So the more series you do that with, the higher the turnover is. Look, I'm probably getting a little bit heated and I'm waffling a little bit. I just want to say, look at this is 4 lists. This is not even all of them. This is just 4 lists of series that I happen to pick. That I think, yeah, maybe you wouldn't add all of these. Maybe like a handful out of each list. But damn, imagine having all these extra series in the game. I'm so tired of only getting like a couple of series every year when they have so much they could potentially be working with. And they really need to step it up. Next up, I want to talk about the Super Dimensional Battle update. Something that they have told us is coming. It's coming in December. But we don't know what it's going to be. They've made no indication as such. And it's actually going to be shut down from the anniversary until then. So goodbye to those rewards, I suppose. But what exactly could the update look like? I don't really know. I think one thing I'd like them to add is I've called them SDB tokens. Could be a token, could be an item, could be anything. But make it so that when you clear the stage, based on your score, maybe you get a higher amount. But for each clear, you get a certain amount of these tokens, and you can trade them in at the store for items and characters. Now, I know this is a format that is sort of common with everything in Jumputi. They love to do it. In Tower, you clear Tower, you get some medals, you trade them in at the store. Unity Battle, you clear the stage, you get some medals, you trade them in at the store. It's what they do, and they even released a new game mode this year that you do that with in Sparks of a Lost Civilization. But I do think it works. Like, especially if it's something like Super Dimensional Battle, like, your score could vary quite drastically from day to day. So why not just have it that I'm collecting an item from day to day, and when I reach a certain point and I've saved up enough, I can actually redeem that for something cool. Whereas at the moment, like, you could get a crazy high score, and then the rewards pop up and they all suck. I mean, you got more rewards than everyone else, but they were just bad. They were just bad rewards because it's RNG. Like, I don't really like that. Like, if I've done well, I should be rewarded for it, and I should be able to trade that in for something. Obviously, the people that are much better than me and have, higher limit break characters than me and faster fingers than me, they're going to do better. But that's fine. I don't really care, because it's a single-player game mode, and the rewards are for me, so whatever. They need to expand the boosted character list for each boss, because yikes. Yikes. It needs to be bigger, and yeah, more than one boss to choose from each week, because sometimes you just don't have a good character limit break for that type, and it's just like, if I could just get an extra choice, maybe one week it's red and green. It's like, well, you've probably got one strong red or one strong blue, so you should be alright. And then less reliance on RNG, because I gotta be honest, the bubble rate ups, it's like, you can't, when it's like super rate up, if you get bad luck, then, well, it is what it is. But I have to get RNG to get the rate up that I want, which is obviously the high rate up, and then I have to rely on it in order to get the good bubbles at the right time in the right place, and it's too much. It's too much. Just give me some kind of way to actually, I don't know, maybe it's like a mission, or maybe it's like, maybe I pay for it with coins, or in some way allow me to earn the right to the rate up, rather than having to rely on RNG. And it could just be something that resets each, so you get like a new super dimensional battle boss each week, and maybe like you cleared a certain missions, and then for that week you have it. And then when the new week starts, you'll have to do whatever the missions are for that week, and so on and so forth, moving forward. And then, yeah, I think if you were going to have Super Dimensional Battle characters specifically only available from the Super Dimensional Battle store, you could make them unique by only allowing them to be leveled up from items dropped from Super Dimensional Battle. Maybe you could have a scroll that you can use on any character, but for this specific character, that's the only scroll they can use. And then same for books and same for revolvers. And then, yeah, maybe put some of them in the store as well, because otherwise that, again, is too RNG dependent. I think that'd be nice, and, you know, just have something to be working towards, because at the moment it's just you clear it every day, you get some rewards, and then you crack on with your life. It's no different than a daily stage in an event, so definitely needs an overhaul. I can understand why they are overhauling it. I'll be interested to see what their overhaul actually looks like. Another game mode that is in desperate need of an overhaul is Battle Rush. At the moment, when it gets reprinted, I just have to sit there and auto 25 stages, get my rewards, and then move on. They reprinted the Shin one, and it's only on for 2 days, which is kind of rude because a load of people probably won't have time to do it. I don't know. And you could improve this, definitely. One of the things I saw in Kotodaman is there is a sort of tower type game mode, and it's like once you've beaten certain stages, you have the option to clear one sort of batch stage that's difficult, and you clear it, and it will say, okay, essentially you've done the equivalent of clearing the stages up until this point. So I think for Battle Rush, you know, there's 25 stages. Maybe you could have 5 batches of 5, and it's like you clear this one stage, and it's like you would have been able to clear stages 1 to 5. So it's okay. So you've done that now. And then you only have to clear 5 stages instead of 25 if you've done it before. I also think probably need more stages. 26 to 50. There is an issue right now. If you feed dupe, like you can only feed dupes up to max skill, and then at a certain point it stops letting you feed dupes. So if you have any additional dupes, you kind of just have to hold on to them. I think it's the same with Genkai Battle. I'm not sure, but either way, it's silly. I think they should allow you to try and get these characters up to max luck. So add more dupes and allow us to actually feed the dupes, and give these characters some strong luck abilities. So, but with the luck skills, I want it to be, you know, balanced throughout their levels, so that by the time you do get them up to 99 luck, they're actually competitively stronger than most 99 luck units. Because right now, they're like, as far as the standard for event units, they're not even that strong. So the fact that you can't even get them up to max luck, it fucking sucks. So if you could buff their abilities considerably using those luck skills, that would be very nice. Give a costume at a certain point, whether that is an aura costume or whether it just like fully revamps their sprite, which would also be nice. I would like to point out that Seto Kaiba and Orochimaru at least already have updated sprites, so you just need to switch it into this version. Like, I don't know how much effort that takes, but surely it's not as much effort as starting from scratch. We need the yellow Battle Rush. We don't have one yet. We've got blue for Seto Kaiba, we've got red for Orochimaru, we've got green for Shin. We do not have yellow. And we mentioned souvenirs before, or relics. You could add souvenirs related to the character that you get as you level up. In the same way that you get the legend summon, you could get a souvenir related to the character. In the case of Shin, you might get his gloves. He's always doing this thing with his gloves. Maybe with Seto Kaiba, you get the Blue Eyes White Dragon or something. I don't know. Or you get that little locket he has around his neck with Mokuba in it. Something like that. And then that way, it feels like actually worth doing. It feels like actually worth playing this game mode. I mean, yeah, it's worth doing now because you get the rewards, but ultimately I'm not progressing towards something, I'm just getting the rewards, you know? Like, I'd like to be progressing towards getting a 99 luck Shin, and he's got this updated sprite, and he's amazing, and he's actually strong because I've got his max luck skills, and that would be dope. That would be dope. Now, for some smaller quality of life type updates, there's quite a few things that the devs could be doing. Quick reroll for one. I know some people might say, well, reroll it, you're not really supposed to be rerolling. Like, nowadays game devs have accepted that players reroll. And a lot of gacha games that you see coming out nowadays, and even some of the older ones that have recently gotten updates, they will let you do your starter multi or whatever, which, by the way, a lot of the time the starter multis have been improved considerably. Like, I think on One Piece you're guaranteed like a red poster straw hat or something like that. Like, you're guaranteed a legend in that game. And in this game, you'd have to be guaranteed a limited. And then maybe when you finish, it will be like, are you happy with this? And if the answer is no, you just press no and you can do it again. Like, a lot of games do that already. I don't know why Jumputi doesn't. And also, potentially, if you gave us the ability to skip the tutorial. Like, I think they added it to the Taiwan version. I don't think it's on JP yet. Like, just let me skip the tutorial, let me reroll. That would be nice. Limit Break needs an update to the UI, specifically allowing me to contribute the max amount of doors at once, or just, you know, have a left and right button so I don't have to do it one by one by one. That is the stupidest thing. I don't know why they haven't updated that. Just let me do them all at once, or let me do multiple at once. Just left and right arrows and then a max and min button would be fantastic. Unity Battle needs an overhaul almost entirely to its UI. Like, I would also like to point out, they could update Unity Battle in terms of the guild. They could update the guild and have it so it's like more of a community thing. You could work towards certain goals, not just leveling up your stats. It could be like leveling up the appearance of the guild and stuff like that. You could make it feel like more of a community thing for sure, but also just the amount of menuing you have to do for Unity Battle is just pointless. Why does it load me into a multiplayer menu when I'm going to play single player? Just give me a button to play single player. I shouldn't have to constantly press through so many every time, because they expect you to clear it 30 times to get to level 30, and then they expect you to farm once you get to level 30. I mean, how many clears are you going to have to do in total? Why are you adding extra button clicks and extra me sitting there waiting for it to load? It's not logical. It's not logical. So I think they need to tighten up the UI a little bit. Like, I shouldn't have to, if I go back to the home screen, my reward should be in my gift box already. I shouldn't have to load up Unity Battle again and get it to load up the thing again. It's just, there's no point in all of that. You could speed this up. You could make it a lot better. Now, this is interesting. I can't believe this doesn't exist already. You can't see a buddy skill cooldown if the buddy skill is ready. And what I mean by that is not the amount of turns it's going to take to be ready, because it's already ready. But I mean, if I use this, how many turns am I going to have to wait for it to be ready again? You can see it before you load into the battle, but once you're in the battle, you can't see it. So you have to use it to figure out how many turns it's going to be. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. It should be right there. I should hold thing on the character, just press down on the character, and it should say, there's the free supports. If you use this one, you have to wait 7 turns. If you use this one, you have to wait 3 turns. If you use this one, it'll be ready next turn again. And then at least I know, you know, without having to use it, especially for some of the stages. Like, I've been doing Frieza Genkai Battle recently. Having in your head, okay, if I use this one, when's it going to be ready again? And which one should I use first? Because this one's cooldown's longer than that one. Having all of that ready and balancing it in your head, it's unnecessary if it's all written there. So I kind of wish it was just all written there. A send all button for stamina in line. I don't think they're ever going to add this. I think there's probably some sort of rule against it, because it's like spamming line messages to people. But I really don't like the whole thing where they've incorporated Line so heavily, because, yeah, okay, Line are the producers of the game or whatever, but like, having to send Line messages to people to give them stamina is so dumb. And yeah, that does also apply to the connecting your account thing, which I haven't written here because they have promised they're going to update it. They haven't yet, but they've promised they will. And that is a case of you can only link your account to Line. There's no option for anything else. There's no, like, you know, OPTC used to just be able to issue a code. Dokkan, you can issue a code. And on this, it's like you have to link it to Line. And it's like, you are literally putting yourself in a position where you could press one wrong button and you could just lose your account. And that's That's stupid. That is unbelievably stupid. Like, it's not even done like a proper account system. Like, at least with Bleach, when they do like the linking it to KLab, it's like a proper account system. I know my account is safe. At any point, if I want to load up my account, I just type my details into Bleach Brave Souls, and there it is. And it's very clear, this account on the left is the one that is currently on the device. This account on the right is the account that is linked to KLab. Do you want to overwrite the account on your left with the account on the right? And you might say, oh, well, Jumputi's just as clear. It's just written in Japanese, so you don't see it as just as clear. But there are Japanese players that are making this mistake. There is no reason the devs would have addressed this if that wasn't the case, because they don't care about overseas players. And even one of the hosts has said on stream that they lost their account because of the line account link thing. She probably shouldn't have said that, but she did say it. So she has had that issue as well. It is a well-known issue. That is something they need to address, but they have said they will, so fair enough. 10-step tickets need a multi-option. I am literally not going to use my 10-step tickets until they add one. I have like 200 sitting there, and I refuse to use them until I have the option to do a multi on them. I know it might be a little bit tricky because it's like on set steps you get a guaranteed whatever, but I think the solution to that would be to just say to everybody, we're gonna gift you enough to get you one multi, so to get you like a set number, a number that ends in 0. So say for example you've got 8, that's not enough for a multi, we'll give you 2 and we'll reset your counter, and now you can do a multi and you get a guaranteed 5-star every multi you do with these tickets. Or, I mean, you don't even necessarily need to do that. You could just do it by, I don't know, there's a few different ways you could approach it, but basically bottom line, I want to be able to do more than one of those tickets as once. Maybe you could do it so that every time you do a ticket, like a counter goes up at the side, and when it reaches the number, you just click it and you get a 5-star or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, but sort your shit out, okay? Just sort it out. Allow the same auto speed in PvE as PvP. If you didn't know, the PvP speed is much faster. I think it's ×4 instead of ×2. No reason not to implement that in PvE. There are some stages where it kind of takes a little bit longer than others to auto. That's fine. Let me speed it up a little bit. It's just a small thing. It could save you a few seconds each day, but that adds up. And Legend Summon Filters is something I've actually seen a lot of Japanese players asking for, but it is actually a good thing to have. The other day I was looking for a Legend Summon for one of the stages, and it's tedious without the filters. It really is. I know a lot of English-speaking players probably wouldn't be able to use the filters, but if they're there, then we can use them to help each other. So it's good to have them. And maybe someday I'll add them to the database, but that might be a while. And finally, I just want to talk about some other small updates that they could potentially add. For a start, more story mode stages. I honestly don't know why they haven't done more. Maybe they take more effort than I anticipate, but really, you can just use a lot of characters that have appeared in like feature festivals and stuff as enemy-only units. You can use like a lot of the backgrounds from feature festivals and stuff. Like a lot of the stuff you would need to make some more story mode islands is kind of already there. And yeah, maybe you add like rubies as a reward. Maybe you add like a legend summon or 2 as a reward as you go along the stages. But ultimately, I would like to see a story mode stage for every series. Now, there are some series that only have like one character, but there are ways you could sort of make that work. Like, for example, Outer Zone. Yes, there's only one character, but you could still make that into a full story mode island, because you could have Misery taking you to different places on each island. And yeah, I just want more rewards, really. I want them to add the last 2 Super Genkai battles. I don't know why they haven't. An opportunity to upgrade Ryzen and Saga's stages. There's no reason not to. Right now, I think they're reaching a point where it's very difficult to balance making, say for example, Frieza, making that harder is sort of, I mean, you could do it, you could totally do it, but we're getting into the realm where OPTC is right now, where you load up a stage and a bunch of shit happens. You're just like, what? What do? I don't understand. And you kind of need specific characters, otherwise you have absolutely zero chance. And when I say specific characters, I don't mean broadly speaking. I mean there'll be like one character, and if you don't have them, it's almost impossible. and it's just like, it's tricky for them to balance it. I get it, but they can at least add the Super Genkai battles for Ryzen and Saga, even if they're not going to add more to Super Genkai battle later in terms of the existing ones, Meruem and Frieza. Even if they don't add more stages to that, that's fine. Just add the ones we don't have already. And add the last Battle Rush. I mentioned that before. We don't have the yellow Battle Rush, so it'd be nice to see that added. Limit Break being increased to plus 40. Probably not necessary right now, but if we are going to be getting an update to Super Dimensional Battle, probably something that the devs are considering. I can definitely see them doing. But alongside that, I would like to see them have a more generous approach towards the doors. Because at the moment, the doors, it's sort of like you can maybe do like a couple of limiteds a year, maybe. And then one Muso full stop, pretty much. You can do one Muso. And you can do like... You can do the event units pretty plentifully, but hero units you could maybe do like a handful a year or something like that. Like, they're very strict with how many of those they're giving out, and I think they need to loosen up a little bit and just give us a little bit more. They can increase the limit break cap, sure, and just make it so that 40 is like a pain in the ass to get to, but then it's like you could get a character to 30 and it's like a good enough boost on Super Dimensional Battle to be worth doing. And just give me more of the doors, more and more of the doors. The player level cap being increased to 500. I put 500. That's wrong. It's already 500. I meant increased by 500 to 1,000. I don't know if they'll do this. They might stop at 999. I don't know, but I feel like now the level rewards, the return, I can't remember what it's called, but like the rewards you get every so often during a big event where they're like, oh, you reach this level, you get these rubies. Now that expects you to get up to level 500 to get all the rewards, I think they're going to increase the level cap. It's going to be a nightmare getting up to 1,000. It's going to take so much EXP. Some people still not at 500. I'm still not at 500. But I think now would probably be the time to increase it to whatever they're going to increase it to. Maybe just 750, maybe up to 999. I don't know. And yeah, anything to re-incentivize max luck. Right now, an event comes around and there's a few missions that make me want to max luck a character. And I mean, if they're strong, maybe I want to max luck them because I want to use them. But I'm not really getting anything for max lucking all these characters. You get some like 5-star ticket shards, maybe. That's about it. Like, they need to either increase the amount of max luck rewards or find a new way to reward us for max lucking characters. Because right now, you can just sort of turn up to an event, get the characters max skill or whatever, and just sort of move on with your day. And you haven't really missed out on that much. You haven't missed out on that many rewards. Like this event, like I think you would have missed out on some 5-star ticket shards. That's it. Oh, and some emblems. Oh joy. And then not much else. So I would like them to address a way to make that actually worth doing, because that's the thing they're expecting us to do every event. And I mentioned this before, customizing the waiting rooms for the guild. You know, you want it to have a community feeling. If we can put up posters as a community, if we can change the furniture around, if we can decorate, if we can, I don't know, maybe slowly upgrade it so we're in a bigger room. Maybe as you level up your guild, you can upgrade to a bigger room. You can have more people in your guild. That would be cool. I don't know if they do that, but that would be cool. And I'd like them to add the last 2 explosive breakthrough units. I feel like it'd be nice if every new player that starts the game gets 4 explosive breakthrough units at the start. And those are all units that they could be working towards. And if they max them out, those will be strong units for them to have. So I think that'd be nice. They probably won't do them both at the same time, but you know, maybe add one during this event and one sometime next year. I don't know. And that's about it. I'm sure there's lots of other things I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't come up with them while I was making the pages for this video. So this is what I've got. If there's anything I've missed that you think should be added, jot that down in the comments. If I'm a stupid idiot and I've said a load of stupid bullshit and you're like, damn, this guy's a stupid idiot, leave that in the comments too. That's fine. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all for the anniversary. Goodbye.